Welcome back. I'm Jake. We're at RVAsec 14. We're in the vendor room. The CTF is going on. We actually have our CTF sponsor. Has been a sponsor the last many years. Been a big time supporter. So introduce yourself.
Thanks, Jake. My name is Matt Morrell. I work with Corelight. We've been in the network space, network detection and response specifically, for 20 years. So we've been doing capturing packets and looking at packets on the network long before it was cool. Yeah,
so if someone comes up and maybe they're not familiar with you and they say, what problem do you solve for me? How do you explain that in a way they can really understand it?
Sure. So in essence, we support SOC teams, security operations teams, for incident response, threat hunting, and the ability to get the ground source of truth when alerts are firing, where we sit on the network, how we actually function on the network. We enable them to be able to do their job faster, more direct, reduce false positives, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. And what type of company, what size, or where do you fit best,
Yeah. So it's probably more of the mature markets that have developed SOC teams, again, intelligence teams, threat hunt teams that are out there. Through partnerships, we could go into the mid-enterprise or kind of downstream through partnerships there. But typically our direct customers are folks that are in the more mature space of their security operation journey.
Makes sense. So, 40-some vendors in here today, capture the flags going on. When someone comes up and they say, what are they asking you? Well, I guess what's the number one question? What do they want to know about you guys?
Sure. So we actually have a couple open source projects that we're the founders and custodians of. So it's formerly called Bro. Right. They thought Bro was a little bit of a conversation around just the fraternities and stuff. So they flipped it to a name called Zeek, Z-E-E-K. So we're still of course, the founders, like I mentioned, and the custodians of open source project. So there's global deployments, federal deployments of our open source project out there. So that's usually an anchor. People say, hey, I know that one. It's taught in SANS classes. So it's a really gold standard for folks that want to get into to the network telemetry that's coming across and stuff.
Now, how does a POV look like? Is it hard to a lot of people sometimes when they hear this, they go, oh my God, am I going to have to span ports? I'm going to do this. It's going to be a pain. Is it easy for them to see value? How does that work?
Yeah, so the value comes in a multitude of ways. Again, depending on how they're trying to complement their EDR solutions, complement the rest of their posture from identity back down, right? It can plug right in and start to make heads or tails of everything in that sense. So once they have the kind of orchestration done, the value's there. The data is flowing off of the sensors immediately, and it's one of these things that really just picks up for them, and they start to get the ground source of truth immediately then from the data.
So, love the open source tool. I'm sure that many folks get introduced to that. If they said to you, but there's all these other vendors that claim they do it, what's sort of the thing, what's your moat? What sets you apart and why people should get you?
So when you talk about the NDR market in general, the network detection and response space, there's a number of our competitors that actually use our open source technology, Zeek, under the covers. So that in itself, I think, speaks volumes, and we are still the custodians of that. So from a feature set functionality, nobody knows it better than Corelight. So you're talking about the gold standard being used by our competition. Right? So it's, that in itself is like, there you go.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what did we miss? What should we tell them? Any other things?
No, look, Corelight's a 400-person shop. We're based out of Silicon Valley. We came out of Berkeley Labs. It's a great pedigree when it comes to network detection and response, enhancing the SOC teams. Love to kind of entertain any sort of conversations, engage with folks. We love doing these capture the flags out in the communities and being part of it. It's a little bit of that open source heritage that we have. So,
awesome. Well, Corelight's been a huge supporter of the CTF. It's one of our staple events every year, and we really appreciate it. Thanks for all that you do.
Thank you.
Good.